Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy, and hopefully you can notice a difference, but I'm using a new camera. I got a new camera for Christmas. Shout out to Paul, you're awesome. And hopefully you guys can tell the difference and videos start getting a lot better in the future. I do want to get like some lights and see kind of like about that, just because I think like typically like natural lighting, it's like the best lighting, but I usually cannot film during the day because I'm at work and I work overtime and I just don't really, I'm usually filming at night. So, and especially this time of year, it's like it gets dark at like 4, which is ridiculous. So, today I wanted to start a new little top 10 kind of video on my channel, which is on badass ladies for EDH. If you're someone who just likes to spice things up, if you're someone who just really loves lady art like me, because I'm a huge fan, I have a whole EDH deck around this, and every single one of these cards is in my ladies deck. Like, that is how much I love these. In the future, I do want to talk about like others and expand, but these are some. So like I said, I play with all these cards and I love them, and these are just 10 in this video, but I totally want to do more of these in the future because there are some super awesome ladies in MTG. So let's get into it. So the first card I want to talk about is Mystic Snake, and Mystic Snake is super awesome. If like I'm ever running this color combination, like even in honestly some modern builds that I've done, I've totally thrown in a Mystic Snake. If I need like more creatures, but it's like a creature, but it's a counter at the same time, and it's also got flash, which is awesome. So it's like, sometimes you just like need to do that, and then you have an extra blocker or an extra attacker, and you're just left with a really sweet 2/2, and it counters any spell. Like realistically, in the grand scheme of things, like 4 mana, you know, in something like EDH really isn't a big deal. I'm a huge fan of Mystic Snake. I love this card. If I'm running this color combination, I'm gonna be running a Mystic Snake. She's awesome. Okay, then we have Ephara, god of the Polis, or Police as I say, my friends and I say. Funny story about Ephara, I find myself in a lot of my ladies deck. I don't have that many ways of tutoring, but the times that I do, and I don't really know what to get because I have like so many things and, you know, so many sweet things in the deck, and sometimes like you just don't need like to get a board wipe, and you're just kind of like, hey, like what do I do with this? I'm not like giving myself enough room. I just want to like make sure there's enough room on this side of the screen. But yeah, I find myself, I'm like, oh, I never know like what to really get, but I'm like, I want like card draw. But a lot of times if it's like a creature, it's a little bit more vulnerable, but Ephara is indestructible, which is awesome. She just, I can't even tell you how many times like she's been so useful in so many games of EDH. If you're doing this color combination, I would totally recommend running Teysa. Teysa's awesome. We're gonna be talking about her soon, but running Ephara, she's really great. I love the card advantage of her. If you're running just a lot of creatures, it's really good. Like, you have a lot of creatures entering. What's also really awesome is it's each upkeep if you had a creature into the battlefield. So a lot of times, like, what I'll do is, you know, I'm running Sliver Queen, so like I'll make a token, and, you know, say you're playing with like a couple of people, you know, you can like keep making tokens like with Sliver Queen or with anything that you're, you know, you're flashing on creatures, whatever you're doing, and you're just drawing cards at the beginning of each upkeep. It is so good. Ephara is really awesome. I would totally recommend her. And again, the fact that she's indestructible, she's super hard to remove, so love her. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce the name of this next card, but she's awesome. Oh my god, I love her. I've honestly straight up thought about making an EDH deck around her. I mean, like, I don't know what the theme of it would be. It's like my biggest struggle because I don't know what I would do. But yeah, she's Merieke. Am I like saying that right? I don't know. She's awesome. So she's 3 mana for a 1/1. She doesn't untap during your untap step. You gain control of target creature as long as you control her, and then when she leaves play or becomes untapped, you destroy that creature. So what's really awesome about this is like you can have so many ways if you're building a deck around her of like untapping her and then just like taking control of your opponent's creatures and destroying them. Like, I love that she's like a mini removal spell like in one kind of thing, or sometimes like it's really great, you just like take control of someone's creature and like they just can't do anything with it. You can like, you know, use the effects of someone else's card on your side of the board, which is awesome. Yeah, she's really sweet. I feel like this card should totally be reprinted because I know it has like the super old backgrounds, and I think this card is very like underplayed, underrated. But if you're running this color combination, she's awesome. Or building a deck around her, she's sweet. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, but we are going to be talking about Tisa, Envoy of Ghosts. I feel like this Tisa gets totally, like, cast out in the shadows versus the other Teysa. And I don't really know, I think I fell in love with this Teysa back when I think this was even before I was making videos, so this was like 2.5 years. This must have been like 3 years ago or so. I had black, white, Obsidian, tokens, and not tokens, just Obsidian, like, what is the mechanic? I always forget. Extort. It was like an Extort theme deck, and obviously I had to run Teysa in there because, yeah, she's not an Extort creature, but she's freaking sweet. And I've had this copy, I don't know where I got it from, of this Korean Teysa, and I've just never, like, I love when you have like memories of specific cards, like you don't know when you bought it, but you just have it and you're like, I love this, like I wouldn't trade it for anything. I have like randomly a Korean Teysa, don't know, it's sweet though. But anyways, she's awesome. She's kind of a lot of mana. I mean, she's 7 mana for a 4/4, but guys, she's got Vigilance and like pro creatures, like that is sweet. I can't even tell you how many times this has been like so useful, which by the way, as like an EDH commander, having pro creatures is really freaking sweet. And she's also got Vigilance, which is awesome, so like you can attack and then just boop, block with her, and then potentially kill something or just neg like points of damage of what your opponent's swinging at you with. And when a creature deals combat damage to you, you just casually destroy it, and then you put a token. Like, what about Teysa isn't to like? Like, I just think she's sweet. Talking about her kind of makes me want to bring back like some sort of black white themed life gain deck because she's awesome. Love her. Okay. Whoa, what happened? Oh, okay. Then we have Oona, Queen of the Fae, or I call her Oona, Queen of the Bay, because she is Bay. She's awesome. She is 6 mana for a 5/5 flyer. Like, yeah, okay, that's sweet. And then you have X, and then blue or black, you choose color. Target opponent exiles the top X cards, so you can pay like any amount of freaking money you want of their library. For each card of the chosen color, you put a token with flying. Now, I can't even tell you how many good things about this card is. Like, even if you're in a playgroup where like they're running like 4 colors and you're like, damn, like maybe I won't get many tokens, guys, like it doesn't matter. Like, you're exiling cards from their deck, cards that they like can't get back, or probably can't get back, which is awesome. And then if you do happen to, you know, guess cards of the color, you get to get some tokens out of it with flying, which is awesome. Oona is super sweet, very, very great card. I love her. She's awesome. Okay, this is a card that some people, I feel like some people get super confused and don't think this is a lady, but she's totally a lady, and that is Dragonlord Ojutai. Oh boy. Okay, guys, oh, Dragonlord Ojutai is freaking sweet. Okay, like everything about this card I love. Straight up, like, I think, I talked about this in a video recently, but like, I'm trying to get back into Modern, and Paul and I are gonna build like a Modern like binder where we have like random cards like to build a variety of different decks, and my decks are basically gonna be like any version of Control pretty much, like Grixis Control, Blue-White Control, Jeskai Control, like, you know, so that I can comfortably swim in that color region, color families and stuff. But one of the cards I totally need to get for there is a Dragonlord Ojutai. She's awesome. She's a 5 mana 5/4 flyer. It is hexproof as long as she's untapped. Now let's be real here, it's EDH, you can have a million things of untapping her. Come on, yeah, she's sweet. Or you just stick boots on her or whatever, and she's got hexproof all the time. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you look at the top 3 cards of your library. You put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Like, it is so good. She's a huge creature. She's got flying. I love the fact that she's got like the little bit of hexproof as long as she's untapped. But then dealing combat damage, getting that little bit of advantage, you're basically scrying, you know, every time you deal combat damage. And also too, a couple of attacks from her if you're running her as your commander, you just have her in your deck. Like, she's a 5/4 flyer, she's got flying, she's got evasion. Couple smacks from her, your opponent's gonna be dead. She's an incredible creature. I do think she works really well if you have maybe unblockable cards too, if you find that's a struggle for you, like Rogue's Passage, things like that. But oftentimes I'm the board wipe queen. I run millions of board wipes. A lot of times I'll just board wipe and then play Dragonlord Ojutai. She's sweet. I will run her to the end of time. She's awesome. Okay. Okay, then we have Captain Sissy, Sisay, and I talked about earlier how I don't have that many tutors in my deck because Tassiger has too many tutors. Too many. It's beautiful. And I was saying to myself, like, I wanted, you know, it's nice to just tutor for cards, and it's nice when it's a creature too, like it's a lady, it's not even like an instant and I get to cast it once. Like Captain Sissy just like chills, and again there's so many ways of like untapping things, so it's great because like you play her, she's 2/2, you search your library for a legend, card, it says a legend or a legendary card, you reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle your library. Like she's awesome. You can just get like anything, and I find in my deck I run a ton of legendary cards. She also works really well as a commander if you're running tons of legendaries, and she's just a really sweet card. Like again, I love the fact that she just sticks around. You know, if someone is like kill your thing, you're like, in response tap it, because a lot of times like what I do, and this is just a, you know, thing that I feel like the better at Magic you get, is you find yourself like if things can be, if you can play it on your turn versus your opponent's turn, like the end of their turn, you want to do it at the end of your opponent's turn. You know, some things, of course, you're obviously going to do things during your turn, but like something like this, I tend to find myself doing it at the end of my opponent's turn, because I don't know what the state of the board is going to be once I pass turn. Like they could get a board wipe, and that totally is going to change my, you know, the card that I'm going to grab with this. So that's just something I always find with that, and it's been really useful. Very fantastic card. I love tutoring, and I love doing it every single turn. It's awesome. She's great. Okay, this is, in my opinion, a pretty underrated lady, I would say. She came out with one of the commander sets, and I can't keep up with those because they always come out with like 5, and then there's like some every year, and they always like blur together in my head. But that is Saskia, the Unyielding, if I'm saying that right. She's freaking sweet. She's 4 mana, she's everything but blue, which I feel like is a shocker. You'd be like, oh Tracy, you know, I like blue, but I'm not a huge fan of it in EDH. I much prefer it in Modern. You know, I'm not saying I don't like blue in EDH, but I'm more of like a stompy, attack you with everything person in EDH. And Modern, I'm control, it's super weird. It just fits more my playstyle. I think that's so strange. But anyways, she's a 3/4 with vigilance and haste. She ETBs, you choose a player. When a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to choose one. So it does like double damage. So what's really awesome about this is, like, say you're playing against like 2 people, and you know, one person you attack and the other person you can redirect that damage, or sometimes you just redirect all that damage to that one person. It's so good 1v1 because like all of that damage just goes to their face. She's amazing. I'm sure she's amazing as a commander, but she's great in my 5-color deck because she just does a ton of different things. Love that she's got haste and vigilance, so you just swing with her, you know, and things dealing double damage. She's very reminiscent for me on Gisela. Gisela's also a lot of mana though. I run both of them in there because I can, but if you're, you know, you're running, oh, and it's great is you can run both of them because they're in the same color family. Yeah, she's super sweet commander. Very, very good, very underrated. I think it's because it's the 4-color, like I think it's gonna force you to either go 4-color in EDH or 5-color. So I think that's why it's a little bit more restrictive, but she's awesome. She's helped me out so much, you know, dealing all points of damage to my opponent. Love her. Okay, we talked about Ephara earlier, but I'm a huge fan of Thassa as well. I just find her to be so useful. The whole making gods a creature type of situation is not something, it's my main priority, I would say. Like when I look at gods, I'm not like, yes, I'm avidly gonna go out of my way, like especially too when I'm running 5-color. Like I'm running 5-color, and you know, my goal isn't to say, hey, I'm trying to make all my gods creatures. Like that's not something I'm trying to do. I mean, listen, if the god is a creature, that's awesome, but I don't, it's just bonus points, you know, cherry on top of the sundae. But I don't even like cherries. That was a terrible analogy. But yeah, so she's really sweet. She's, you know, if they get their indestructibility from being a creature, or I'm sorry, if they get to be a creature, that's awesome, but they're indestructible regardless, which is sweet. She's 3 mana for 5/5, indestructible if you have devotion, she's a creature, but if not, she just chills. At the beginning of your upkeep, you just scry one. Like this is so useful. I'm a huge fan of like access to information. I want to know what's on top of my deck. I want to know what I'm going to be drawing soon. I want a lot of cards in my hand. That's just the type of person I am when I play Magic. And so having a little bit of information, having that little bit of card, you know, a little bit of card advantage, card knowledge, that I know what's on the top of my deck, and if I don't like a card, boom, pitch it away. In my opinion, should be in like every single blue EDH deck. You can find a place for Thassa in your deck. That little bit of card knowledge is so crucial. It's very important. And she also has that extra ability tacked on. Target creature control can't be blocked this turn. So good if you're, you know, for your commander. If you're trying to win by points of commander damage, this is awesome. Or for something super, some big dumb creature, card is awesome. Love it. Okay. And the last card I want to talk about, and to be completely honest, I don't think I could have actually gone this video without talking about my baby, my Sliver Queen. This has easily just become one of my favorite magic cards ever. I talked about Sliver Queen in a couple of videos. My magic cards that are worth like every penny, she's totally up there. And I feel like she looks like she's such a simple card. You're like, okay, she's like a 5 mana 7/7, which is freaking sweet. And she just pumps out tokens. But guys, when there's like nothing to do with your mana, or like you're in a situation where like you're playing with like Eldrazi, like I run Eldrazi Monument in my deck too, which is sweet. And it's like, it gives my things a buff, but it's like, okay, like I don't want to sack like a lot of my good sweet creatures. So I'm like, okay, just sack a token because it's a 1/1 and it's also colorless. I'm sorry, it's not, yeah, it's colorless, which is really, really useful in situations actually, because, you know, if you're running like things with protection from colors, this is really important. She's a very basic card, but she's very powerful. Really great as a commander, but if you're someone who's running 5-color whatever, she's really sweet to throw in the deck, even if you're not running a Sliver themed deck, which I really like, because I think sometimes some commanders are so set on like, okay, when you have this commander, it's like, okay, it does this one thing and you have to kind of build a deck around one thing. But I love commanders that it's like you can do kind of like whatever you want. Like you could build a 5-color deck that does whatever and you just have her and she just makes dudes, and that's one reason why I just really like her. But on top of that, she's just super huge, really great as a commander because she's a 7/7. And you know, a couple of attacks from her and your opponent's just dead. Like 7 times 3 attacks from her and you're dead. So that's really sweet because 21 commander. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Sliver Queen. So that is it, guys. That is it for talking about badass ladies for EDH. I definitely want to do more of these because it's so fun talking about super sweet, just magic cards like in general, but badass ladies because I'm a lady and I like looking at pretty lady art and, you know, having awesome representation in the game. So that is it. I will talk to you guys in my next video.